Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, I see some AI here. Fireflies.ai. I was expecting that to happen with all you IT guys. I said I was wondering why I have not been given an avatar yet, and AI hasn't come in. Now AI is here, so I feel complete. However, this is my opinion that AI will truly become effective when we work on our NI. That is the natural intelligence. Once we awaken our natural intelligence, then AI will become a great support, which is what we are trying to do, I think. So I'm ready whenever you are. So I think by now you realize that I go gaga over every shloka I come to, and this is another brilliant shloka. But look at the variation. Another little variation, and Sri Krishna, talk about a mind that can look at things from various perspectives, again, different. And every shloka he changes another perspective, almost like a 360-degree view. And I think if we start thinking like Sri Krishna, if it's possible to think like him, because we become those whom we imitate, right? So if we start thinking like that and start looking at things from various angles, various perspectives, then we will also notice that every way of looking has multiple perspectives. And somehow, whenever I read these, I always come back to my favorite Anekantvad in Jainism. There are at least 7 ways of looking at a thing. There's no one way of looking at a thing. And here Sri Krishna is practicing it. So let's jump into it without talking too much about it. Let's just experience it. Yatato yapi konteya. This is another beautiful sound. Yata is, you probably all know, yatna. So yatato is one who is exerting, pushing. Like us, we are intense trying to do yoga. He is indeed, truly, verily. Like in Hindi, we say he, that is often the he in Sanskrit comes to be. Api, you know, api is bhi or also. Kaunteya is the son of Kunti. So he's addressing Arjuna and he's saying, Yatato yapi Kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha. Purushasya, asya, wherever it comes, remember the apostrophe of the Purusha, belonging to the Purusha, the Shashti Vibhakti. Vipa is a word you will often come, Vipra. Vipra is one who is wise. So Vipa, the root, is one who is wise. I always used to see it as Paschita. Pascha is one who can see. But when I looked at the roots the other day, the root is Vipa. So Vipaschita, one who is wise. So, and I'll come to the whole meaning because in Sanskrit, you're allowed to put words here and there, jumble them, because you don't have to stay in one structure. So the meaning will become clear. But tentatively, yatato yapi kaunteya means of those who are striving, indeed. Purushasya vibhashita, the man, the person of wisdom. Indriyani pramathini. Pramathini. Indriyani is many indris. Sorry to butcher, many senses. Indris sounds terrible. Indriya, and as we would say in Hindi. Pramathini. Pramathini comes from matha. Matha is to, mathna. as the gopis used to churn the butter, the milk, and butter would come out of it. So many senses will, how do you say, churn it, turbulent, make it churn. Haranti, you know, hara is to take away, apharana. Hara. The ha sound joined with ra means you're taking it away. Haranti prasabham manaha. Mana, of course, we have talked about what mana is, our wandering mind. Prasabham. Pra, whenever it comes, it gives you force. Prabhu, right? Prabha. Prasabham is with force. So, what does it all mean? Even though the wise man may try his best, now think about it. One who is wise, not just wise, he's trying his best, doing his best. Yattato, he's doing the yatna. In the senses will seize with force even the wise man's mind. Now, earlier, Sri Krishna has pointed out, and we went over each shloka, how he breaks it down one by one by one. And he has pointed out that you may control all your senses. Remember, niraharasya, you control it, yet the brain is moving all over. Now think about what he has done now. He has turned it totally the opposite. The mind of a wise person who is trying, that is seized by the senses. So he's giving different scenarios. With each shloka is almost like a different stage in yoga, a different experience we have. How often it happens, we are trying to do dhyana and then someone calls you, or somebody, your roommate or your office supervisor calls and creates a problem, and you just feel everything is gone. Now all the senses have come and taken up your silence, even though you were trying hard. And all these shlokas from 55 to 72 are just a remarkable collection. Together, it's like a string of pearls in a beautiful garland, right? You have one set of 17 shlokas that are so beautifully connected. And he has done that constantly. So you will see a short section where, say, 4 or 8 or here 17 shlokas are so closely connected, and they become a way of looking, a stage in yoga or a type of yoga in itself, connecting with the bigger picture of various sections. So each shloka connects to the other sequentially, intuitively, but then each section connects to the other section. And that is another beautiful literary aspect of the Gita. So those who love literature, and by the time we are done, you will all start loving literature. If you don't give up, you will at least appreciate how brilliantly is connected. And each connection is not a logical step. In the West, we do logic, right? A is 1, B is 2, so A plus B is 3, B plus C is 5, and that's logic. Here, it is a different connection. Its connection is an inner connection. It's a stage in consciousness. So intellect is kind of transcended. It's an intuitive connection. No, you know that they're connected at a different level. So that is the genius. And of course, I keep repeating myself how beautifully, and I think we talked about it last time. I think Pankaj ji pointed out how beautifully the sounds are connected. So I don't know. I don't have words to describe the beauty. You just have to just experience the beauty. Yatato yapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha Indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manah. And I'm not even at the level of chanting that Swami Brahmanandji does, but just reading it gives you the whole music. So let's see what Sri Aurobindo has to say. How does he translate it? Yeah. Even the mind of the wise man who labors for perfection, yatato, yapi, konte, even yapi, even the mind of the wise man who labors for perfection is carried away by the vehement insistence of the senses. Indriyani pramathini haranti, it's carried away. Pramathini is vehement, O son of Kunti. So look at the power of the senses, and that's why Sri Krishna constantly tells us to learn to withdraw from the senses. If we can learn to withdraw from the senses, come to the mind itself, then we are able to control the mind. Then further, that is not enough, the mind turned to the buddhi. And the buddhi then, that too is not enough, buddhi then turned to the purusha. And eventually it becomes the Purushottama, Sri Krishna himself. The buddhi is totally concentrated, one with Sri Krishna. So all these, think of the logic. He's saying, giving you different reasons. Even though you are wise, you're putting all your effort, your senses will churn your brain, will take it away. Even though you have withdrawn from the senses. Now, the previous shloka comes. Even though you have withdrawn from the senses, your mind is still hungry and it's looking. You still have the tendency. And remind me where that shloka was, if I can find it. Yet, there was another shloka where you withdraw. Vishaya vini vartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya. So you have withdrawn from the senses, and yet the rasa is staying. Param drishtva nivartate. The only thing that will free you is the parama. You want to see the parama. So again, he will take you through another set of intuitive insight to make you realize that it is not enough to master your mind or withdraw from your senses. He will constantly beat you up and take you to that understanding, higher understanding, that everything has to be concentrated on Narayana himself or Sri Krishna himself. So that is how I take this beautiful shloka. Let's see how Swami Brahmanandji recites it. And I think that proves my point. The sound itself becomes the meaning. Let's see. Beautiful. That's why I love Swami Brahmanandji. What a beautiful recitation. So if you heard it, now you know my first question. Did you notice anything particular, any tricks he played with the recitation? And we may have to chant it again. If anyone has picked up on it. Indriyani. Indriyani. He doesn't, yes, because in is a dirgha. Anything else?
I want to play it again.
Okay, let's play it again, Rajesh.
There is that extension after Prama also.
Yeah. Say that again. Yes,
like
exactly. That's right. He's giving the due time, the kala, the duration to ma. Pramathini. He's not doing, as we Hindi speakers have messed up, Pramathini. Normally, if I'm talking to people, I would be eating up my swaras and quickly. But here also notice yata. He doesn't just glide over ta. He gives ta. It's yata to yapi konteya. Purushasya vipaschitaha. Indriyani pramathini. That gives you time, because then he has all the time to bring the music together. Harante prasa sa. He's not saying prasabham. Prasabham manaha. That is the beauty of his precise. He's not just the most resonant sound. I love his sound, of course, but he gives the due weight to every swara in a very gentle manner. Of course, I'm killing it by torturing it out, but just so that you notice these subtle techniques of the master and how beautifully he makes it all one. Remember, this is shiksha. In the Veda, you would do this for 10 years. If you were doing Vedic learning, you would be sitting at a place in a Gurukula for 7 to 10 years. That was the traditional teaching, Shiksha. We are doing it online, 1 hour sessions, and at least you're getting a sense of it. This is we're modernized. Maybe next time we'll do even a faster course, 15-minute course. But yeah, Sri Krishna has brought us to a new yuga, which moves faster. But I think you all appreciate it. And I'm sure you all have been prepared somehow or the other to do this. You may not realize it consciously, but you've all been prepared from your past, from your learnings, maybe in past lives, to catch it early. And I'm very impressed how everyone is caught up, which means the sanskara was always there. Or maybe it's just the sanskara of the languages, Indian languages that you have grown up with. So who wants to initiate today's chanting session? Let's see who all are. Now it's not that painful. Okay, Rajesh ji, go for it. But after that, we'll come to Pankaja and Pallavi ji. Yeah, go ahead.
Yat to yapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha.
Good. I think the only thing I would say is pramathini. It'll be a small I, haranti.
Okay.
But good, very good. I think you all are getting the right flavor now. Pallavi ji, go for it.
यततो यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपक्षितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथिनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः.
Yeah, you should develop it. You have a different music. When you recite, you have a different rhythm. I don't know if you have noticed that. I don't know if others notice it. And each is unique. So if you can develop that, I think it will be, yes, none of us will become Swami Brahmanandji, but that's okay. We will develop our own individual way of chanting it. And that's what is needed, right? Amalji, go for it.
यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः.
Good. What happened in the first pada? You went very fast, but it's good. It's okay. I like it.
Okay.
It's good. No complaints. It was a different way of reciting, which is okay too. There are some chanters who do it, but then what happens is you went very fast in the first 2 padas and then you slowed down. So either you stay with the fast one or you go slow. So pick one. You want to do it again?
I think that was just a buffering or something.
Okay. It may
Yeah. I thought so too, because I didn't feel I was going fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
यत् ततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः.
Yeah, remember your ni and ti is different from thi. Indriyani pramathini haranti. I'm exaggerating, but so that you would get the sense.
Yes.
But good. Anybody else? Did you? Yeah, go ahead, sir.
यततोऽयपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः.
Wonderful. You guys are getting good at it. I'm impressed. I'm happy. I can't tell you how good you guys are getting. And you all, just a little more practice, maybe a few more months, and you should be able to carry that note to other people too. No one else? So I did speak with Partho Dada last week, because I don't want any of you doing the spiritual development to get distracted by my obsession with poetry and matra and sound and chanting. But he feels that this chanting is important. We need to learn how to do it. That is not intellectual, and I think experiencing the language and the Gita in a different way. So obviously I will not ever say that this is more important than your adhyatmic abhilasha, than your inner movement. And so without making it intellectual, I'm trying to make it that you experience it through your senses, you learn how to do it, and hopefully not be in the intellectual status. It's not mental for you, and hopefully as it becomes experiential, it will give you another flavor of our beautiful shastras. So who wants to explain this? Unless you want to go to previous shloka. You want to go back to the previous shlokas and see how they connect? From 55. And here, if you go back to 55, then you see the genius, another great reflection of the genius who is our teacher, Sri Krishna. And I'm seeing him as a genius human being who came as a human being, which is okay. When you see him as a human being, it doesn't lower him. The divine becomes human and the human becomes divine. That is our Sanatan Dharma. There is no contradiction. It's not lowering him when we see him as a brilliant human being. So here you see prajahati yada kaman. So here you're controlling the desire. Prajahati yada kaman. When you have controlled the desire. Atmanye vatmana tushtaha. The Atman is satisfied by itself, through itself. Right? So here he has given us the definition, which is probably one of the best definitions at this level. Sthit prajñas tadochyate. So that is the one who is a sthit prajña. Now, let's go to the next shloka and see how he has moved to a different nuance. Dukheshva nudvigna manaha sukheshu vigata sprihaha. So in sorrow, he's not udvigna, and in happiness, he's not attached, right? And he has gone beyond raga, bhaya, krodha. So here he has given us basically two definitions. First definition is atmanye vatmana tushtaha. Second is vitaraga, bhaya, krodha, who has gone beyond these fear, attachment, anger. He's given us the two definitions. Now it seems, let's do the next shloka. he's given us another shade of that being unattached. Here he's saying na bhinandati na dveshti. So we've talked about it. Abhinandati, neither towards, neither from nor towards. Sarvatran abhisneha, sarvatra anabhisneha. Everything, he's not attached to anything. Tat tat prapya shubha shubham, whether it's beneficial or not beneficial, ashubha or shubha. Again, he's given us a nuance of what does it mean to have your prajna established. So three he has given, although second and third you can argue are really the same thing, but a different nuance to the point he's saying. It is neither in Abhinandan, he's neither enjoying one thing and nor is he upset or jealous or in duality with something else. Now let's go to the next one. Now this will give you, now he gives you an image. And the reason I'm going through this section is so you can see how his mind works. By understanding his mind, hopefully our minds will open up to him too. Yada samharate chayam, urmongani vasarvasha. Like a tortoise, we withdraw all our limbs. Indriyani indriyarthebhyaha. So the indris, the senses, are no longer attached to the subject of the senses. His prajna is pratisht. Now he's almost come from Atman. If you see, from the Atman, he came to a level where you are not in duality, you're not moving one side or towards one side or the other side. Now he has come to the senses. At least that's how I'm seeing. But there's many ways of interpreting it. Let's go to the next shloka and see what play he does. And this is a Vishaya vinivartante. But now he's almost saying something the opposite. So Sri Krishna can confuse us if we just stick to one shloka only. If we say, okay, this is it, this is all he said. And that's what people have done. Great people have done it. Great teachers have done it. And so this is something that we have to see his mind. He has said something and now he contradicts himself seemingly. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah. Withdrawing from the Vishaya. Nirahara, without any intake, without eating in nirahara. Dehinah, that who lives in the body, has withdrawn from the senses. Rasavarjam rasopyasya. But still the taste remains. Param drishtva nivartate. Now he's saying completely something different. By seeing the ultimate, you drop even this rasa. But you just told us to withdraw from the senses, Sri Krishna. Now what are you doing? What are you saying? What he's asking us to do is to not only learn to withdraw, I think, but to learn to see the divine. Param drishtva nivartate. That will be the real freedom. And so see stepwise how it is like one chain linking to the other, but each link is complete. But how they connect with each other. And there is a deeper logic to Sri Krishna. He gives you all the aspects of the sthit prajna, but then eventually he takes you to what? Param drishtva nivartate. He could have just said that in the beginning. One who sees the Parama he's a sthit prajna. No, that's how Sri Krishna's mind is. He doesn't take just one thing. He takes every aspect of it and then lets it resolve into a higher understanding. That is how I have seen, even in poetry, the mind is presenting itself. And those who read Sri Aurobindo will see the same thing with Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo also drives us crazy because he'll say one thing, then he'll say something related, then another thing related. By the time the sentence is 15 lines and you lose the thread, and then he'll resolve all those things with one beautiful realization, and each paragraph becomes that inner journey. But you have to follow his thread. And so Sri Krishna, at least the way I have seen it, is there are various garlands. The Gita is like a, not just we talked about a symphony or a raga, various strands merging in each other. So there's a strand of thought or intuition, there's a strand of music, and there's a strand of root words, and how beautifully he connects them. And then, of course, I think he has brought us to the next shloka, which is today, is yatato yapi kaunteya purushasya vipashyataha. So I think if you see Krishna in that, from that perspective, that he is giving you almost a 360-degree view, as far as is possible in poetry. So poetry is not logic, right? So he's just giving you snapshots. But each snapshot is so complete that it almost gives you a new world. And you could take any one of the shlokas and make a philosophy out of it. If you just took this, you could create a whole lecture, 2-hour lecture, and people have done it. A whole little chapter on a book. But in just 4 padas, each with 8 swaras, true varnas, he has given us a universe. Now, I don't know if that gives you an insight into that mind. He can give you in 32 matras the universe that is complete in meaning and in sound. And yet when he moves to the next shloka, it's another world that is complete. So each shloka is a complete world in itself, together giving us a wider, bigger world. And that is often what we will see in yoga. You come to a great realization, you come to a great insight, intuition, flash, and that's a complete breakthrough, disruption of everything there was. Now you're a new person. But the next revelation, next realization will be another completeness whenever it happens. So each shloka, if we can see it as a deep revelation from a human being, a consciousness that is living like us in time and space, yet is able to experience at the same time a wider consciousness. So then we can try to understand who Sri Krishna is. If we can absorb that way of envisioning, I think it will open our minds. And for me, it was a very beautiful thing when I first realized how Sri Krishna sees. And suddenly your mind goes for a toss. After that, you cannot take your mind seriously when you're looking at something from one perspective. Here, one of the greatest minds of all time is giving us different perspectives on the same thing. And if we have one perspective, it's okay, it's valid, but it is not the only perspective. So I think that's how I would, at least I've often approached it. And what we may think of it as what the future mind will be. So normally we cut up, our mind divides, like a botanist takes a butterfly and cuts it into different pieces. Sri Krishna's mind is the opposite. Sri Krishna connects, integrates. He does not cut. So if you read a logical person like Plato or Socrates, they'll break it one by one. Each part is broken. Our mind thinks like that, breaks it. That's the way the Western mind works. The Indian, the great yogic mind, especially with Sri Krishna and later with Sri Aurobindo, they connect, they bring everything together. You will see that with Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, he brings them together. But here also, little perspectives, he's bringing them together. And he'll take us to a point which is the revelation for those 17 shlokas. Then he'll take us to another level. So From wholeness to wholeness, if that makes any sense. Completeness to completeness, he takes us. At every moment, he is complete. He takes us to another completeness, to a fuller, you can say, a more perfect completeness. And that always reminds me of our famous Upanishadic Purnamidam Purnamidat Purnat Purnamudachyate. That is one of the, I think, aspirations of Sanskrit great poetry. That's always complete, moves from completion to completion. That's how I feel it, and I hope you can see that. If you can see that, then every shloka will have another joyous realization for you. Anyone wants to comment on this? I'm sorry, I just went on a segue, but what do you think? Is that something that you notice, or your comments? Where is Aviral today? Aviral is missing. He ran away. Jidesh, you tell us, what do you see in the last 7 shlokas? Sthit Prajna. What are your thoughts about these connectivity of various, like a link?
Like, until our prajna is established, need to focus on Sri Krishna. Like he's telling, like it's difficult. You need to control your indriyas, bring it to like Sri Krishna.
So actually what you're saying is going to come in the next shloka. So you'll have to hold your breath for 7 days, because Sri Krishna will give you that answer beautifully. But what you are taking to us to will be revealed in the next shloka. I'll hold that suspense. But exactly, very beautifully said. Pallaviji, you wanted to say something. Thank you, Jadesh.
I want to share how I am experiencing all that you're explaining and we're going through. I in my own life and practice also, I experience this as almost like a play. It's like a hide and seek. Though I aspire, even as I aspire to just be focused on Sri Krishna, I've sort of understood where I'm heading and how, but my senses every now and then they will surprise me, and that's my opportunity to further look at it and say, okay, more work to be done. That's how I experience it.
Good.
And
Yeah, I think
this
that's very
shlok
important.
kind of relates to that.
Yes. It's your inner journey coming up in these shlokas, as it's not exactly personal, but you will see your life reflecting. Aviralji, we were waiting for you.
Namaskaram.
Namaskar.
How I see this is that how I experience it is that just by अगर मैं बोलूं कि dambh of effort,
Yes.
you can't get it, and that's what is getting reflected in the last few shlokas. That every way that you would have thought that, you know what, this way you can do it, that way you can do it. This time he brings in that कितना भी आप योगी भाव से आगे बढ़ रहे हो तो भी इंद्रियां आपको नचा के ही मानेंगी. So
Yes.
ultimately, how I see is probably it's leading towards the essence of grace. Now that
Yes.
could be grace of the Guru, grace of the ultimate, whatever is your Shraddha, right? But
Yes.
उसके बिना पार नहीं होना है. ऐसा दिखता है मुझे.
Yes. Yes,
इसी
he's
direction में
connecting you to
बढ़ना
the
है.
18th chapter already. This is the genius. He has already prepared you. That seed has been planted.
Yeah.
That is the brilliance of Sri Krishna. He said something in the 11th shloka that will become clear in the 6th chapter. That's how beautiful he is. Rajeshji, you wanted to say something. Very well said, Aviralji.
I think in the past few shlokas, the core message that I'm getting is that if there is that divine energy, there are a lot of other things surrounding it, like say senses or the feelings or other things. And he is trying us to go past those senses and then try to keep moving forward and try to bring you towards him or her. So that's how I'm feeling like. And again, it's like repetition in different shlokas, like
Yes. Yes.
sometimes about like, don't worry about the good or bad or loss or win or
Yes.
disappointment or senses, or bring yourself uh um don't look at the sense pleasures and all the stuff. And he's trying to reduce the distractions so that you can focus on something else.
Yep. And it's interesting, you will see one movement and Sri Krishna will redial this movement back into something totally different. And I don't know if I should give you that suspense or leave you in suspense. It is just the most, I can't tell you, when I get seizures of joy when every time I realize it. It was done so brilliantly. Maybe I should let you discover for yourself how he turns this whole thing upside out, down, inside out. So if you want to hold your breath in a yogic samatha for the next few weeks or months, then we will come back to this, because
Definitely.
he effectively, how should I say it, contradicts, I'm just going to say it for Sri Krishna, he won't get upset, contradicts everything he has said in these shlokas, and he'll come to give us a deeper realization. That is the most beautiful thing I find. Everything he has said, at this stage, we are growing, we are learning, but in the 18th chapter, he'll turn it totally the opposite. And just realizing that is a great insight. So I will hold that. I will not bring it out. There's a little baby there on Jitan's camera, so I think that is a very good illustration of what a child's presence. I'm sure it'll bring good energy to our conversation. I've been thinking about a question from the past 2 weeks. How much validation? What was that, Rajesh? I missed that question. Let me see. Let me go back to the questions. Rajesh, can we play it again? Buffering. I've been thinking about a question from the past 2 weeks. How much validation or expecting credit is necessary? Is it similar to ego or another aspect of ego? Wouldn't validation can motivate one to continue to do the karma as one should? Validation from whom? From others?
From others,
So,
colleagues, family,
yeah.
society, whatever.
So all depends on which anukrama you are in. In the adhyatmic order or anukrama, you don't need validation from anyone. You don't even need validation from yourself. There's nothing to validate. Everything is as is. So no one can validate you, because I can't validate anything you have said. Nor can you validate anything I've said. I'm going at it in a very different perspective. However, in a very deep relationship, maybe with your guru, maybe with someone you deeply love, if you go to the guru and you share your anubhava, anubhuti with the guru, and the guru knows you from inside, that's the one characteristics of the guru. It's not like, we are talking as a friend to each other and okay, you tell me something and it's a good piece of experience. The guru knows more of you than you. And we're talking about a deeper connection here. There you can have validation, but that's a different validation. Right? The guru said, okay, so you go to the guru, and I had this inside guru or Guruji. I was looking at the moon and suddenly, and I'm just giving an example, suddenly there was no moon. There was no one looking at the moon. There was just complete oneness. Suppose you say this to the Guruji. But the Guruji knows this was happening, beginning to unveil itself anyway. You noticed it today. The Guru saw that happening a week ago. I'm just, So the Guru will say, yes, that is where the drishta and the drishti and the drishya have become one. Just giving a word to it. And the Guru may not say anything, because giving words to it will ruin often the experience. That's where intellect is brought in. So Guru may not say anything. Guru will smile or say, continue this, or give you another exercise to do, as Sri Krishna is doing. He let us do one shloka. We meditate on it. We have come to a breakthrough. Then next shloka will be another meditation, another exercise. So often the way I see it is Sri Krishna, to me, he's here. He's telling me what I need to do. He's speaking to me directly. That consciousness is here. Now, he can validate you. But Sri Krishna is you. That duality is there for a while, and then eventually that duality will go. So yeah, Sri Krishna can validate, your teacher can validate, maybe your best friend, maybe, but there you do not need validation. Your validation is you. That's how I see it. Now you're talking about the practical world, then you need validation. In the practical world of success, and I need to get my promotion, or everyone needs to realize because I'm the leader, then validation. But then if you do that validation, do it with the understanding that you don't need validation. And if the validation doesn't come, you have no problems. If the validation comes, you don't take it as a validation. It's just in a practical world. It's happening. Like the little girl is playing and she wants a toy, and you give it to the toy, and the toy breaks. Oh my God, the world has come to an end. You know the world has not come to an end, but you go with the baby. Okay, I'll get you another one. And you go with the child. That's how you have to often deal with yourself. I don't know if that makes you become two. You're not one person. Unfortunately, you never were. At least two aspects of you come. One is the aspect that is totally free, where that needs no validation. The other aspect, the bird on the tree trying to eat all the fruit, that needs the validation. If you can keep that poise, then this will become clear. And the beauty of the Gita is it gives validation to both aspects. It does not emphasize the importance of one over the other. And I hope you know what reference I'm giving you, right? In the Upanishad, the famous Dwa Suparna, I don't know if you remember that famous Samirji, Swamiji, where are you? The two birds, there are two birds. One bird is sitting at the top of the tree, golden feathered.
Yes, I think I've
unmoving.
heard the story.
Unmoving. And at the lower branches, there's another bird with normal plumage going and jumping from branch to branch, eating this fruit, that fruit, right? Until the bird in the lower branches realizes that it is the bird at the top.
Correct.
It has always been. Dwa Suparna Sayuja, remind me, Swamiji, where are you? So that is the famous. And so what is important in this? So what we do, and this is, I'll just allow me a little indulgence. What we do is we always make the top bird more important, which is what Arjuna does, no? I need to be like that. I need to give up this and I need to go there. But if you really read the Upanishads, and especially in the Gita, both are important. That is the Akshara Purusha. This is the Akshara Purusha. Akshara, that which can never be divided. That which is, right? Anu, atom, atomic. Atom means what? That which can never be cut. It can never be divided. This Kshara is going to go away. This Nama Rupa that you and I are will go away. Sri Krishna says, even this is important. This Shara is important right now, right here, in our limited perspective, in our time and space, in this personality. This is as important as that. Don't just run for that. Right here, realize that, and then live this to the fullest. And same thing, Isha Upanishad will say, if you read the first 2 or 3 shlokas, beautifully it describes. And Sri Aurobindo says the same thing. Takes Sri Krishna's message and even integrates it, because this is the new yuga, integrates the new knowledge to it and says the same thing. He does not, Sri Aurobindo never says leave this world. Keep working in the world. It will not allow you to leave. Some, maybe he made some exceptions. Constantly, Sri Krishna does not allow Arjun the freedom to leave this world. So while you're in the office setting, I don't know, I'm just making it up, wherever you are, you need validation, get the validation you need, realizing that there's no validation. If you can keep those two together, then you're free. You're fulfilling this swabhava. You're fulfilling the swabhava that the Kshara Purusha has taken. For some reason, it is not useless. Sri Krishna has become this, has become you for a reason. Do not reject it. Embrace it. Allow it to grow wide and vast as Sri Krishna, beautiful as Sri Krishna. Don't look down on it. And this is a habit I see all the time. Don't look down on this ego. Ego is beautiful. I love my ego. Excuse the expression. This ego is beautiful. It has brought us to this point. Without the ego, there would be no concentration. There would be no rajesha. There would be no jidesha. Everything will be scattered. The concentration of all the energy, bringing it together. Even the desire to be free of the ego is coming from that vital energy. But don't make ego the most important thing in the world. I'm not saying ego is the most beautiful thing. Realizing what the ego has done for you and what more is possible. And that's how, so I hope you see the contradiction in my statements. I hope you see that, which is what the Western mind would go crazy with. But keeping these two opposite perspectives together, that is our Indian genius. We don't run and completely go to the akshara. We don't run. Western mind goes completely to the akshara. That's all that exists. If you go to the sannyasi, and with all due respect to Adi Shankara, you go only to the akshara. Although I think we have misunderstood Adi Shankaracharya. But Sri Krishna constantly keeps both until the end. As the Kshara, remember the Akshara and remember the Purushottama. So while you are saying validation is needed, go for the validation with full consciousness and awareness, complete consciousness that there's no such thing. Then your validation will be enjoyable. Samirji.
Yeah, I pasted the shloka on the chat.
I can't see it. I don't know. I don't know how to see your chat. Oh, 2 new messages. Okay. Dwa suparna sayuja sakhaya samanam vraksham parishasva jate. How beautiful. I think this image keeps coming back in the Gita. It's a beautiful, it's a very strange image. Only Indian minds can give such an image. 2 birds sitting on a tree. This image has no logical connection. But the one who has done yoga will immediately understand what is being said. This is one reason why we misunderstand the Vedas, because they just talk in images. Now, what the heck is this meaning? If I explain to a Western guy, he will go crazy. And when I say Western, there's nothing against Western guys. It's the Western thought process. And it gives you an insight. If I say these 2 birds are one, there are 2 birds. One bird is at the top. One bird is on the lower branches. And they realize that they are one. The lower one realizes that it is the higher one. To a logical mind, that has no meaning. But to you who have touched it, who live it, who experience it, this is the deepest meaning. Something beautiful has been given to you. So I think with that note, I would end here. I think this is worth meditating on and just being with this. And now that you can do the chanting, I would love to hear someone chant this next time. Tva Suparna Sayuja Sakaya Samanam Vraksham Parishasvajate. How beautiful. Any other questions?
Can I ask a follow-up or no?
Yes, sir.
Or maybe some other folks have other questions. So not the follow-up question, but thinking more about what you just said. For me, it's like imagine if Arjuna won some competition, however, others say that, hey, you won because of your weak opponent or some other situation, that's like denying the prowess of Arjuna, his skill. Wouldn't Arjuna be fighting that, no, this was a legitimate war, I legitimately won, and fight for his being the best warrior? Would that be ego or would that be validation? What would that be?
So, okay, there are two aspects to it. One is it could be just an ego thing. I am the great warrior, I won it, and we all know that. The two is, okay, I have to establish the truth objectively that I was the great warrior, right? And the third is, it really doesn't matter, right? The third one. Because the great warrior is not one whose arrow pierces that fish eye. The great warrior is one who is one with the movement of pulling the string and stretching the bow and leaving the arrow in complete unity with the eye of the fish. That is the warrior. And Sri Krishna has talked about it, right? Yoga, what was that, Swamiji? 44th, where was that? 44th or 45th? After karmanyava adhikaraste. Yoga karmasu kaushalam, where was that? Anyway, I'm sure you'll find it. It's 50, sorry, not 44. It's 2.50. That is the kaushal. That is the kaushal that Sri Krishna is talking about, where your work that you did has no comparison. So suppose, I don't know, Rajeshji, what do you do? Do you do IT?
I'm in investments.
In what? Investments? Okay. So you found something, you did it with complete consciousness, complete oneness with your process. And in that research, in that investment, there was no separation between Rajesh and the investment and the money. It was joyous, experiential. What do you call it nowadays? The flow. You were in that flow, right? I
Actually
think
know the
that's what
name.
the video you sent me, the flow. Okay, so you're in that
Oh,
flow.
yeah.
Okay, now I come and tell you, you know what? I could have done this. One thing I could say, Rajesh, that's no big deal. Even I could have done it. Two, your friend here, you just made this 2 CRs, but your friend Pankaj, he just made me 3 CRs. So Pankaj did a better job than you. Now tell me, who did a better job? You were in the flow. Does it even matter that Pankaj did a better job? Your flow itself is the validation. That is what I think Sri Krishna is teaching us. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Tasmad yogaya yujyasva. Yoga karmashu kaushalam. So be one with that. that complete oneness, that perfection. That is the kaushal that Sri Krishna is teaching us. When we do something with total emergence, like that little girl, why do I, whenever I see children, they have that unique ability of being completely absorbed with what they do. That is the purity, the innocence that comes. I think I saw the little girl a little bit with Jidesh, I think. They have that ability. That's why they're innocence. So their consciousness becomes one with what they're doing. Unfortunately, we mess it up. As they grow, then we destroy that ability, that intuitive oneness, the ability, that fluidity, that flexibility. We destroy it because we are more educated, we are smarter. We make them intellectuals. But if you're in that flow, then who is going to validate? Now, if you want to get the validation because you're still in that flow you say, okay, this needs to be validated. Okay, that's nothing wrong with that. Even your attempt to get validation is a part of the flow. And there is no ego involved because you have to establish that being in the flow is a higher movement. Then why not? Then the whole dynamic changes. Then it doesn't matter to you after a while. If others accept, great. If they don't, it doesn't matter. You can say, okay, this was done while I was in the flow. I'm using your word because in the flow is a good way of describing it. You were in that complete joy of doing that bliss of finding that investment and making that successful and making it successful for others. You were in that. Now that is the validation. You just validated yourself. Now, if Jidesh says, no, I think this was not good enough, then you say very quietly, very relaxed. You can say it was perfect because of this and this and this reason. The consciousness was completely identified in unity with its object. If you want to intellectualize it, there was no Rajesh doing it. It was flowing out of Rajesh. It was flowing by itself. You say it, Jidesh says, no, there's no such thing. It's okay. You made a point. Maybe 5 years from now, he'll realize, maybe there is something like flow, like the flow, and then he will touch it too. But it's not a prestige point anymore, if that makes any sense. All right, I think we have come to the end of another beautiful hour. Thank you for being here and listening, and pranam on this journey together. Thank you.
Pranam. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.